Hello and welcome to the Tomcast. I'm Tom, president and dictator for life of 515comics.com. So this week on the Tomcast, I have my pipe. I've decided that I want to have kind of a new segment that's just me sort of doing a stream of consciousness, rambling about something that I've been thinking about. I don't really have a name for this yet, so I don't know. Maybe we'll call it Pipe Dreams with Tom. That's kind of silly, and there's a pipe in it, so that's cool, and it's about me thinking about stuff, which is kind of like dreaming. Anyway, we're just going to do it, and today we're going to talk about webcomics, because that's what we always talk about. I'm going to get better, I promise. This Sunday, I am going to be at Demicon in Des Moines. I don't actually know a whole lot about the convention. I've done just a smattering of research, and by research I mean I read a flyer for it last year after it had already happened. But basically, Demicon is a sci-fi convention. Now, I'm not going to have a table there, so I'm not going to be there all weekend or anything. But someone that I met at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City invited me to go to Demicon with him and speak on a panel about webcomics that he is running. So that's pretty awesome. But in preparing for this panel, I've been thinking a little bit about webcomics again. I mean, obviously it's something that I do rather a lot, but I've been thinking a little bit about what it means to be a webcomic and what webcomics can be. I don't know. When I first started making webcomics, I didn't really call them webcomics. I thought that what I was doing was very different from what webcomics were because I was just drawing a comic and I was choosing to distribute it online, but it wasn't a webcomic. I think at the time that I thought that webcomics had to be digital, and since my comics were all done traditionally, since it was all pencil on paper, I was like, it's not a webcomic. You know, I now proudly call myself a webcomic creator because what I do is a webcomic. I put a comic on the web. It's a webcomic. I have noticed that there are a lot of different things that call themselves webcomics. And there are people that sort of take that title in different directions. And I guess what I mean by that is really just that there are some people that think that being a webcomic, having a webcomic is very different from having a comic that is in print. That there's some huge distinction. And this is something that I discussed on an interview that I had with David Gordon, and he made the point that really webcomics are no different, and that webcomics, that saying you have a webcomic is superfluous, that really you should just say you have a comic and you can find it online. And I think I agree with that. He's kind of converted me to that way of thinking. However, I do argue that there are some comics that can only be webcomics. For example, the gentleman who is running the panel, Ryan Morrow, he's from One Squared Studios. They do comics that could be in print, but the way that they're presented online makes it so that they're only webcomics. You should really check it out to see what I'm talking about. But basically, the way that it works is that you need to be viewing the comic through a browser or through a comic reader app or something like that. It's actually a digital comic, the way that they have it coded and the way that you go through it. And then there's things like MS Paint Adventures or Homestuck, I mean, that really are like webcomics because they incorporate things like animation and just like tricks of using an internet browser. I feel like webcomics should be a very all-encompassing title. I feel like something referred to as a webcomic, it shouldn't be hard to be a webcomic. I kind of like the all-inclusive thing, where we're really just all comics, but maybe it's more webcomic just refers to the format. I like that. I like that better. So I make a comic, and I produce it as a webcomic, but also as a graphic novel. So I guess that's where I want to leave that. I guess for now, and maybe I'll come back on this. For now, I just think that webcomic is just the term for the distribution. Is that it's just one of the formats that your comic can be in is a webcomic. Anyway, I hope that made sense, and I hope you enjoyed in some way my little rambling session here. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.